to Manchester United deal officially off. The season starts here for Erik ten Hag, and did Manchester United make a mistake in letting Jadon Sancho leave the club? These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this morning's live show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 500 likes on this episode. And if this is your first time watching, please also subscribe to the channel. Currently, only 50% of people who watch our videos are subscribed. So if this is your first time watching, make sure you get involved. Everyone is welcome. White. Let's start the show off by reacting a little bit to the game on Saturday, the 3-0 victory. That was the last time I spoke to you. So let's just, have a little chat about how we feel that game went. Let's have a think about how the season progresses from here. And the first thing I wanted to say, because I've seen some people downplaying this game against Southampton and being like, oh, it's only Southampton. But the one thing I will say is this. In the last 5 games against Southampton before Saturday, we had drawn 4 and won 1. So Southampton have been a bit of a dodgy team for Manchester United over the last kind of 2 or 3 seasons. We don't ever really lose to them, but we have seemed to have drawn against them quite a few times in recent years. So I think, to go and beat them 3-0 is pretty convincing, really. Obviously, the last time we beat them very well was obviously when Ollie was here and we beat them. I think it was 9-0, wasn't it? Yeah, that was in 2021. So in the last 4 games, we drew 4 times. Obviously, we beat them 9-0 as well. And that was a weird game, that one. I remember it was in COVID times, wasn't it? And there was no fans in the ground. I think they got 2 red cards really early on. And then, we just absolutely thrashed them. But I was happy with what I saw on Saturday. I think the first 20, 30 minutes of the game, I think, was not good enough. I think it was worrying, concerning. And then Onana saves that penalty and everything changes. Within 8 minutes, we're 2-0 up. We go from conceding a penalty, Onana saves it, and then literally 8 minutes later, we're 2-0 up. And that's just how football works sometimes, Sometimes against the run of play, something will happen in the game, and then everything changes. But I think after that point, we completely dominated them. There wasn't really any threat from Southampton after that point. And all we can do now is build on this. Obviously, we play Barnsley tomorrow in the League Cup. I imagine it will be a very heavily rotated squad for that game tomorrow. At least it should be. Anthony should be starting. Toby Collier should be starting. Johnny Evans, Harry Maguire. I would even say Altay Bayindir should be starting. I'm expecting that game there to be a lot of rotation. I would even say people like Harry Amas should be starting. Interestingly enough, Manchester United's under-21s played Barnsley a couple of weeks ago, the first team, and Manchester United's under-21s beat Barnsley 3-2. So that kind of gives you a bit of a perspective of the level of where Barnsley are at, that, our under-21s were able to beat them 2 weeks ago 3-2. So, I would definitely expect to have a heavily rotated side for that game against Barnsley, because obviously the priority has to be the Premier League at the moment. We play Crystal Palace on Saturday. And again, that's a must-win game. Crystal Palace haven't had the best start to the Premier League so far. Obviously, last season they did really, really well under their new manager. Obviously, Michael Elise left. A couple of other of their kind of better players have left. And they have been struggling a little bit this season, Crystal Palace, to say the least. So, that has to be a must-win game for Manchester United. Crystal Palace currently sat 16th in the Premier League with only 2 points. They've lost the first 2 games and then drew the next 2. They haven't won a game yet. So, we've got to at least go and draw against Crystal Palace. And to be honest, after the 3-0 against Southampton, I would say we need to try and win against Crystal Palace. They're not looking like a particularly good side at the moment, Palace. And it's probably a good time to play them because they seem to be one of those types of teams, Crystal Palace, that the longer the season goes on, they kind of build and grow and get momentum. So to be playing them at the very beginning away from home, I think is probably the best time that we could play them. So I'm feeling quietly positive at the moment. Obviously, some results went our way as well over the weekend in relation to top 4. We're currently sat on 6 points, which puts us in 10th place, which obviously seems terrible, but it's only 4 games into the season. Liverpool lost on the weekend, obviously, so they're only 3 points ahead of us. And Tottenham are on 4 points. We're 2 points ahead of Tottenham. And one thing I wanted to say, right? Why is Ange Postecoglou not getting criticism? Why are they not calling for him to be sacked? If you look at how many games Tottenham have won out of the last 30 games, their record is awful. They've kept 2 clean sheets in 37 matches, Tottenham. 2. We've already kept 2 this season against Fulham and against Southampton, and we've got people in our fan base calling for the manager to be sacked. Whereas you've got Tottenham, who have had 2 clean sheets in 37 games in the Premier League, right? And you have, pundits saying that Ange Postecoglou is this breath of fresh air. He's this amazing manager. He's got them sat 13 in the Premier League. They've won 1 game. They've lost the last 2 games in a row, and they've got 4 points. So I know people are like, those of you who are Eric Ten Hag out, I get it. You're frustrated and all the rest of it. But just try and look at a bit of perspective here. We're 4 games into the season. We've got 6 points. We've won 2, we've lost 2. I think the Brighton game we were very unlucky to lose. I think that should have been a draw, realistically. And I don't think anyone can really argue with that. They scored a last-second goal and we had a goal disallowed. If we'd have scored our goal that was disallowed, we would have been 2-1 up and probably would have seen up the game. So, yeah, I think we were very unlucky against Brighton. Obviously, the Liverpool game was terrible, but if we hadn't have lost to Brighton, we would have been up in like 6th or 7th place. So just bring a bit of perspective into this. The season's still very, very young. Obviously, Liverpool lost on the weekend. Tottenham lost on the weekend. So, yeah, we're not going to win the league. We know that. So, top 4, that for me would be an ideal situation. I still think we're well within that reach. We're only 3 points off Liverpool, who are currently 4th. 3 points off Aston Villa, who are 5th. If we beat Crystal Palace and they draw, we'll only be 1 point behind them. So, yeah, we've got to it's baby steps, isn't it? But in relation to the game on Saturday, overall, I was quite happy with what I saw. I thought from 30 minutes onwards, I thought we were good. We dominated. And to get 3 goals away from home against a team that we've only beat once in the last 5 games, you can't just say it's only Southampton. Like, what do you mean it's only Southampton? If it's only Southampton, why have we only beat them once in the last 5 chances and we've drawn 4 times? Like, I don't get it, We just beat a team 3-0 who we haven't won against. That we've only beat once in the last 5 times and people are still unhappy. I don't know what to say to you, Like, if you can't celebrate and be happy when you beat someone 3-0 who you've struggled against in recent years, then I don't know. I don't know what you want from me. So yeah, I was happy. I was really, really happy. So yeah, let's see what people are saying in the chat. Welcome to everyone who's just joined the live chat, by the way. If you could all do me a favor and smash a like on the video, please. Let's try and get to 500 likes before the video ends. And if this is your first time watching, please also make sure to subscribe as well. We're on the road to 40,000 subscribers. Remember, when we hit 40k, I am going to be giving out 2 Manchester United shirts. So make sure you go and subscribe now if you haven't already. We're very, very close to 40k. So go and do that right now if you haven't done it already. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Stephanie says that Ange Postecoglou is the new media favourite. Yeah, it's because he's like mate. I don't know. He says things, doesn't he? He calls everyone mate, and like he's a bit of a laugh in the press conferences, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's a breath of fresh air." It's like he's a breath of fresh air who's only kept 2 clean sheets in the last 37 games and is sat 13th in the Premier League. Like, yeah. Alex says Liverpool losing was the cherry on top. Yeah, I mean that was a shock, wasn't it? And that's what I say to you, when people are like, Eric Ten Hag out, we should be winning the league. Right? Any team can be any team in the Premier League. That's why the Premier League's entertaining. That's why the Premier League makes the most money, and that's why it has the biggest viewers in the world. Because on any day, any team can beat any team. And we saw that on the weekend with Liverpool. Who expected Nottingham Forest to beat Liverpool at Anfield? Probably not a single person in this chat would have predicted that, right? And it happened. And that's why the Premier League is exciting, and that's why it attracts so much viewers. So when we go and play someone like Southampton away from home, right, who are desperate for a point, we can't just be like, oh, it's only Southampton, I just don't buy into that. You have to celebrate all of the victories, even if it is against a lesser team. But yeah, so I'm feeling quite happy. I feel like, as the title of the video says, the season starts here for me, really. Like, let's build on this. We've got some winnable fixtures coming up. Obviously we've got Crystal Palace next, who are struggling. I think we can beat Crystal Palace now, based on what I saw on the weekend. Obviously, we haven't really had Matthias de Ligt. He's not injured anymore, which is good. It was just a cramp. Ahmad on fire. Rashford scored his goal. Hopefully he builds on that. So yeah, I'm feeling confident that we can kind of build on the momentum here. The game against Barnsley tomorrow, as I said, I'm expecting a heavily rotated team for that match. Then Crystal Palace on the weekend should be the same team as what played against Southampton. And then you've got FC Twente next week, I think it is. And then you've got Tottenham at home. So, like, those next 4 games actually look quite winnable now. Obviously, Barnsley would be a disaster if we lost that. Crystal Palace, I think if we lost, would be a disaster. You've got to at least draw based on their form at the moment and based on, like, they do seem to be struggling. FC Twente, again, that should be a relatively easy result. And Tottenham, I think we can damage Tottenham. You know, they haven't really started the season that well, and I think it's quite a good, you know, point in the season to play Tottenham. So, you know, if we get 6 points from the next 2 games, the table could be looking very, very different. You know, we could be in and around the top 4 then, hopefully, or at least very, very close to it. So yeah, I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling positive. But it'd be interesting to see what you guys all think. How are you feeling about the mood at the moment? Okay, let's move on from that though, and let's talk a little bit about Jadon Sancho, shall we? Because I've seen some people on Twitter saying that apparently it was a mistake that we let Jadon Sancho go. And I wanted to get you guys' opinions on this. I want you to let me know in the comment section. Is it a mistake that we let Jadon Sancho go? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I don't think it is, to be honest. What I think's happening here, right? And this is media driven. So Jadon Sancho comes off the bench for Chelsea and he gets an assist. But the assist he got, it wasn't really like he did that much. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like a beautiful cross, or he just passed someone the ball and then they did all the rest of it effectively. And now there's this whole agenda going out in the media. Jadon Sancho, man of the match, gets assist on his debut, world class. That's what Sky Sports and stuff are saying. But for anybody who actually watched the game, against Chelsea, Jadon Sancho wasn't even probably the 4th best player on the pitch, or even the 5th. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make this story that Jadon Sancho and Eric Ten Hag, it was a mistake. You know, he's been world class for Chelsea. He was the man of the match. Why did Eric Ten Hag let him go? Eric Ten Hag doesn't know what he's doing. And all they're trying to do here is create conversation. That's what, you know, the Sky Sports, the Talk Sports, all of these big, mainstream legacy media, that's what they try and do. They try and start conversation, which effectively then gets clicks, it gets viewers. That's the whole purpose of it, right? So they're starting this whole agenda where they're putting out there that Jadon Sancho was unbelievable. He played for about 20 minutes for Chelsea and got a very lucky assist. And that was pretty much it. And they gave him man of the match for that. And then all of the conversation is, oh, Eric Ten Hag doesn't know what he's doing. Oh, he made a mistake. And you have to see through this, because for me personally, we all know why Jadon Sancho left this club. And we all know that in the 3 years he was here, even when he was playing regularly, he didn't contribute. He offered nothing. So, you know, I just think it's embarrassing, and I think we need to call it out for what it is. Mainstream media are trying to, you know, start this narrative against Ten Hag that he made a mistake, and the easiest way of them doing that is by giving Jadon Sancho man of the match, right? The easiest way, because a lot of people won't have watched that game, and a lot of people will have just seen the headline that Jadon Sancho man of the match, Ten Hag makes mistake. Like, it's so formulated. And it's so obvious, and you have to call it out for what it is. So for me personally, did we make a mistake? No. Even if Jadon Sancho goes on to be, you know, have an amazing season, I still don't think we made a mistake letting him go. I think he was a bad presence in the dressing room. I think, you know, and I think at some point he will fall out with Chelsea. You know, he'll turn up late for training. The same stuff will happen over and over again. It's obvious. So, yeah, for me, it's not a mistake, but I wanted to see what other people think, because I've seen some people saying it is. So, I'd be interested to see what you guys have to say. But moving on to the next story, I want to talk a little bit about Adrien Rabiot. So this is coming out from Fabrizio Romano himself. Apparently, Adrien Rabiot is set to sign for Marseille. This is coming out literally in the last couple of minutes. I mean, I would have quite liked to see Rabiot at Manchester United, but apparently it's done. So Fabrizio says Marseille have booked travel and medical for Adrien Rabiot. He will sign a 2-year deal at the club. He says the project presented has convinced the French international, as revealed yesterday. So yeah, Rabiot to Marseille looks like it is a done deal. He won't be coming to Manchester United. I get it. You know, he wanted big wages. He wanted a signing on fee. Manchester United clearly didn't want to pay that for somebody who's turning 30 this year. I understand it. But we just have to hope that we don't get injuries in the midfield, because otherwise we'll come back to this decision and we'll say, why did we not get Rabiot? He was available. We could have got him. So yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit disappointed about it. But, you know, if Man United wanted Rabiot, they would have signed him. They would have been able to get him. And they clearly don't want him that much, or aren't willing to pay the money that he's asking for, which I agree with. Like, if he's asking for stupid wages and a stupid signing on fee, and Man United say no, we're not doing that, then it's better to kind of walk away, isn't it, than to just like do it just for the sake of it. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, I'll be honest, when I saw the story come out saying he was going to Marseille, because I thought there's a good opportunity here. But as I've said to you many, many times before, we have to trust Ineos. They haven't done anything yet to make us not trust them. We have to back them. They are the professionals. We're just football fans with opinions. And if they think that Adrien Rabiot is a bad option, then obviously don't do it. Oh, gosh. Oh, sorry, everyone. I've got a bit of, I don't know if I've got a cold or hay fever. Yeah, so there we go. That's that. But I'd be interested to see what you will think about that. Should we have gone for Adrien Rabiot? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Yeah, I personally think we should have, but at the same time, I trust Ineos. I trust Jason Wilcox. I trust Omar Barada. And if they think that it's not a good deal to do for whatever reason, then I back that. So, yeah. Al says, how can Marseille afford Rabiot? Well, they're not paying a transfer fee for him, are they? So that's how they can afford him. It's a free agent signing. I guess you mean in relation to the wages, right? Let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because at the moment, Marseille's highest earning player is Højbjerg, and he's on 120,000 euros a week. And there was multiple reports saying that Rabiot wanted about 200,000 euros a week. So I don't know is the honest answer. Maybe they're breaking their wage structure for Rabiot. Maybe he's taking a pay cut. I'm not sure. We know that Rabiot was desperate to come to the Premier League, and effectively he didn't seem to get the offer he wanted. Yeah, I mean, maybe he's willing to accept less to go to Marseille because he knows they have less money. We don't know, do we? I have no idea, but it looks like he's going to Marseille. So, yes. Stephanie says Marseille's obviously not paying big wages to Rabiot. Yeah, we'll wait and see. Somebody says, is it confirmed? Yeah, Fabrizio's just put out the tweet saying that he's travelling to Marseille now. So it's as good as confirmed. Obviously, it's not confirmed until he's signed the papers. It's not confirmed, but he's travelling to Marseille for a medical. So, yeah, he's not going to come to Manchester United unless Man United try and hijack the deal. But, yeah, I've heard nothing in the recent hours about Man United going in for Rabiot, to be honest. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. I can see lots of people getting in their opinions on Jadon Sancho, which is good. We've got a little poll running as well on the live show. 85% of people watching today's video think it wasn't a mistake letting Jadon Sancho go, and 15% of people think it was a mistake letting Sancho go. So there you go. So most people think that we made the right decision, and I would agree. I think, I'm just glad that we don't have to deal with the whole, like, are Jadon Sancho and Erik ten Hag actually friends? Are they enemies? Are they going to fight again? Like, it's just not good, is it? We've got some people in the comment section complaining about Erik ten Hag after he's just beat Southampton 3-0. Fair enough, that's fine. I don't have anything bad to say about Erik ten Hag in the game against Southampton. He started Rashford. Rashford scored. People were unhappy about that. Garnacho came off the bench. Garnacho scored. And I'm going to be honest with you, right? I think Garnacho as an impact sub is unbelievable. I think Rashford as an impact sub is unbelievable. And I think Manchester United's actual problem is that Amad Diallo is... Obviously, he's a winger, but he's kind of like a midfielder as well because he's so good on the ball. He's so protective of the ball. He's got intricate little passes. Like, he's amazing, Amad Diallo. He's a completely different type of footballer to Garnacho and to Rashford. For me personally, Garnacho and Rashford, their profile of player, their skills, their attributes, more suit an impact sub. And I actually still think that the left wing is still a bit of a question mark about who's going to be there for the permanent, like, not this season, but like this season and beyond. I could see Amad Diallo holding down that right wing spot for like the future, genuinely, because I think he's such a balanced player. But I still feel like Rashford and Garnacho, for me, are both like impact subs. Like, if you start Garnacho in a game, he's not that impactful. And if you start Rashford in the game, he's not that impactful. But if you bring either of those players off the bench, like we saw on Saturday, they create, they get goals. So, yeah. Jarvis says, who's been the best summer signing so far and why? I'd probably say Mazraoui, just because we got him for what, 12.8 million? I think he's been unbelievable. He's been absolutely faultless. I don't think Mazraoui has made a single mistake yet. And for 12.8 million for a 26-year-old, I think he's probably been our signing of the summer so far. But obviously, I'd be interested to know what you guys all think. Who's been the signing of the summer so far for Manchester United? Let me know in the comment section below. I can see quite a lot of people asking about Mazraoui and about whether he's injured or not. Yeah, apparently Mazraoui will be available for the game on Saturday against Southampton. That's what's being reported this morning. And Martinez, yeah, apparently he's going to be okay as well. Eric Ten Hag said this about Martinez. He said, hopefully it's nothing serious. We have to assess it today and then we can see. But it does go on to say that they predict he'll be back for the game against Crystal Palace. Mazraoui apparently back for that game as well. We may even have Højlund back as well for the game against Crystal Palace. So it could be a full-strength squad, apart from probably Mason Mount and Lenny Yoro. So that's positive. But yeah, we won't see any of these players, I don't think, in the game against Barnsley tomorrow night. I'd be very, very surprised. But yeah, I think Mazraoui so far has been the signing of the summer, to be honest. You know, if you factor in how much we paid for him, we factor in the impact he's had. So, yeah, that's my take on that. But you can let me know in the comments section. Stephanie says, Kieran, if Anthony doesn't start against Barnsley, do you think he might be leaving? Where can he go, though? I think the Turkish transfer window's shut now, isn't it? Yeah, the Turkish transfer window's shut. I don't think any transfer windows are still open. Yeah, every transfer window's now shut. So, actually, no, it's not. Turkish Union of Clubs, is that? Does anybody know when the Turkish... let me check. When does the Turkish transfer window close? Is it Friday the Turkish window shuts? The Israeli leagues, the Turkish Union of Clubs. I think it says the 18th of September. Yeah, okay, so the Turkish transfer window closes on Wednesday. I don't think Anthony's going anywhere, to be honest with you, mate. To be honest, but yeah, maybe. Right, I think we've kind of covered everything I had planned for the show today. I will be back later on today at 6 o'clock. Please make sure to drop a like before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. As I said, once we hit 40k, I'm going to be giving out 2 Manchester United shirts. So go and subscribe now if you haven't already. I hope everyone has an amazing day. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. I'll be back at 6 o'clock. Speak to you all later. Bye for now.